Welcome. I'm Bernice Ross, the CEO and President of Brokerage and realestatecoach.com.
And my name is Greg McDaniel. I'm the co-host and the co-founder of the phenomenally successful podcast, Real Estate Uncensored. But today, Bernice and I come to you together as Real Estate Coach Uncensored.
We have a great show for you today. It's based upon last week's Real Estate Connect. We've got 10 trends we're going to be talking about that can help you be more profitable, that can help you build your business, get you in the right mindset. So as we head in the last couple of months here of the year, let's focus on what we can do to end this year well, and then have hit the ground running on the first of next year. So, Greg, this was one of the most interesting things. And the question comes up, is it time to stop paying for internet leads? And one of the hottest stories over the last few weeks has been Zillow's decision to move into becoming a brokerage. I mean, it's been all over the headlines on every real estate publication. And Mark Johnson, the CEO of JP and Associate Realtors, shared a survey that they had seen that showed that 73% of the agents did not plan on advertising on Zillow in 2021. 17% were on the fence, and 10% would continue to do so. Now, what surprised me, I was in a breakout session with Stephanie Anton and Matt Borland of Corcoran, and they surveyed the Inman participants who were in that particular session. And guess what? 73% said they would not use Zillow, and 17% that they had no problem continuing to use them. Now, that surprised me. So those are two samples. So, Greg, what do you make out of this?
Well, Bernice, it's an interesting question. It's really going to be interesting to see where kind of the cookie crumbles, where everything falls. Everyone thought that the world was falling when they got into the business 14, 15 years ago. They were going to take all of our business. They haven't. So it really comes down to the question, are you going to keep paying for internet leads to a major company like that, that is in a direct competitor of yours, or are you going to go out and make your own leads in a different model? So in the next coming 12 to 18 months, we'll see kind of how this is going to shake out for Zillow and other companies like them.
Well, one of the questions that I think comes, just based upon what you were talking about, is how can I go about beating Zillow in the iBuyer game? Mm-hmm. And Courtney Poulos, she's the broker of Acme Real Estate. She outlined an incredible marketing program that I thought was brilliant that will help you get access to those underrepresented buyers. And here's the game that's being played right now. Realtor.com and Zillow are going after getting the mortgage business. So they want to make that connection with the consumer so that they can get the mortgage business. Then they can either refer it out to one of their preferred agents and get a 35% referral fee, but they also get the mortgage business, and that gets them control of the client. So here's what Courtney said to do. She said to market, on every brochure, any marketing piece you have, you want to ask the question, are you an unrepresented buyer? If so, contact me if you need help with qualifying for a loan, obtaining down payment assistance, even if you currently own a home, purchasing a home through a rent-to-own program, or swapping your present home for a new one without having to list your home. Now, Greg, let me tell you what the programs are for each one of these. Everybody knows about how to get somebody qualified with a broker, a mortgage broker. And, we've done shows on down payment assistance, specifically the site, if you're not familiar with it, downpaymentresource.com. Again, that's downpaymentresource.com. 84% of the homes in the U.S. qualify for down payment assistance. So this is a huge number. But then I love this tool, Divvy Homes. They're pretty new in the market. They are kind of iBuyer, but they work with agents. And what happens is they will pay, this is a rent-to-own program. So say you've got a client who would like to own a house but doesn't have quite enough of a down payment yet, or maybe they need to do some credit cleanup. But so what you can do with Divvy, they do have to qualify for a loan eventually, but you put them in this rent-to-own program, they start taking a portion of the rent, putting it towards the down payment. And then when that renter has enough down payment that they can afford to go into a regular mortgage, Divvy gives it to them. So Divvy's making money on the rent to own, and they're getting them into that home. That's a huge program that Zillow doesn't offer, as far as I know, and Realtor doesn't either. And then Greg, you've worked with Knock about swapping your present home or home. I believe home. You work with HomeLight. Both of these have different programs that do this. What have you seen?
HomeLight, I've worked with HomeLight for a while, and they've been a tremendous resource for us. We took a $5 million listing from one of their leads. So, I mean, these online resources can be very beneficial for your bottom line, and you don't have to pay through the nose for upfront costs. You can pay on the success side on the back side versus an upfront fee for something you're not 100% sure you're going to get. But Knock, HomeLight, Divvy, now that I'm learning about Divvy, these are fascinating programs because they are helping such a large segment of people that want to live in a certain neighborhood but just don't have the ability at this moment to do it, but still want to live that lifestyle and have the cash to do it. So I cheers to them, rock and roll, help more people and make some money. I think they're phenomenal.
Well, the great thing is you're not paying 35% on a referral fee. This is a win for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Tip number 3. I love this question. If I had to do a transaction right now, where would I look? And Greg, how about you? Where would you be looking?
As a lot of you guys already know, I'm an avid door knocker and cold caller. So what I would do is I would get on my Red X dialer, my triple line dialer, and I would dial for dollars. I was doing some calls yesterday and I picked up a potential $1.1 million listing appointment potentially. And it was just from doing calls for less than an hour. So I would get on, I would talk to the folks. People want to talk to other humans right now. So I would do calls and then I would go back through my database and I would restart conversations of past clients, friends and family, just really get out there and be a human being and just start asking for the business. Don't be a secret agent. Ask for the business. If they say no, that's okay. If they say yes, you got to win.
So Greg, I loved one of the ideas one of the speakers had. They said, if you need more clients, have a kid or get a dog. And he says, dog parks are one of the best places to get leads. And it's so true, isn't it? I mean, everybody's talking when their dogs are running around and everything. But I want to share a script with you. And I thought this was really a terrific script. And what you want to do is ask them the following. Who do you know right now who is looking to buy or sell a property? And again, you can talk to them. So we've got 3 new programs that can help people. Then talk about the Divvy Homes, the down payment resource, the home swap programs. Talk about those and say, do you know anyone who could benefit from those? And then this is what I haven't seen anybody use it this way. This particular speaker said, what you need to do right there is say, pause. You just need to pause them and let them think about it. And what, the average person knows 250 people. Let them think about who they know that would help.
In negotiations, the most powerful adversary you have is silence. People freak out when you go silent on them because their brain's going to try to come up with answers for whatever you were talking about. So when you just shush and you just, like you said, be calm, and it might feel uncomfortable, but just don't say a word. Let them be the first person to speak. And then I'll just see where the conversation goes.
Okay, let's go on to number 4. Where to search for profits right now. And I love this suggestion. Take a look at what the gaps are in terms of your budget and your calendar. In other words, where are you spending money that you're not getting a return right now? Okay, that's a budget gap. Or where do you have 15 to 30 minute gaps that you are not using to build your business or to become more educated? And Greg, you had a couple of great suggestions, a couple of pro tips here on this that I really like. What are you doing when you get that 15-minute gap?
Some of the things that I bought into a long time ago, it's called Mentor Box. And I think I'm spending about $7 a month. And they go in and they have a whole worksheets and interviews with authors of books. And so you don't have to spend the whole time of having to read a book. You can go listen to them, get the bullet points out of it. It's kind of like a audible visual cliff notes of these different books. And they can take up to a couple of minutes to less than an hour. It depends on how you break it up. There's multiple different chapters in there, but that's one of the things that I do on a consistent basis. And I absolutely love it. For $7 a month, I mean, you probably spend more on lattes.
Greg, I love that idea about Mentor Box because growing your skills, growing your education helps you to do business, to do more business because you're better prepared, you're more informed. But one of the things I thought is, that was suggested, look at those 15 to 30 minute gaps in your calendar. And some of the other suggestions that came out of this session, you could call past clients and just reach out to see how they're doing. Then ask that question that we just did. Tell them about these new programs. Is there someone who do you know right now who might be able to benefit from that? Send out not just a regular handwritten note, but something that is a custom note so it stands out. Or follow up on your leads. Jeff Loeb talked about this approach. He says people have a hard time adjusting to change, but what if you looked at change as only 1% a day? Well, that turns out to be 14 minutes and 40 seconds. So that's the 15-minute time gap that we're talking about that you can fill with any one of these things that we just talked about it. Now, Greg, I know this one is music to your ears. The old-fashioned phone call is back. What's happening there? You are up on this one, you Mr. Cold Caller.
Yeah, no, it really is. Prior to COVID, I think people had phone fatigue. They were just tired of people bombarding them with calls. And now with people having to have lived through the lockdown and, having the minimal interaction with other human beings, an unsolicited phone call is actually not a negative. This is my experience speaking. From when I talk to people now, I don't get a lot of rude folks. Folks are willing to engage. When I ask them, like, well, if you're not going to be making a move, who do you know in your neighborhood that might have been talking about it? And they literally sit there and think about it. And, obviously when you're going to be doing calls, guys, make sure you're DNC compliant, make sure that you're following the rules and regulations. There's no reason to go all wild, wild west on this stuff. But yes, they really do enjoy the calls. And it's a welcome surprise to not have the rude person, but have the wonderfully nice person who want to help you grow your business. But double thumbs up to calls being back in style.
Absolutely. Now, one of the best places to call are the past clients you haven't talked to for a while. And here's a simple script. Hi, Susan. It's been way too long since we last talked. I'd love to buy you a cup of coffee or tea if that works for you. Would Saturday morning or afternoon be better for you? Real simple, get that face-to-face meeting when you can. If not, if you need to do it virtually because you're still under lockdown for some reason going forward, again, and then ask that question. Tell them about, gee, we've got these new programs that have just come out. Do you know anyone who would be, that they might help? And again, when you're asking them to help you help someone, you get a better response. Now, I wasn't quite prepared for this next one. Number 6, traditional open houses are back. Apparently the traffic is crazy on these things. The pro tip here is to hold, your regular live open houses. But then I love this tip was to set up a Tuesday or Wednesday night show where you do 4 virtual opens. Now, Greg, how would you go about doing that? Because you're the master of video.
So there's multiple different ways, and different personalities are going to pick up different things that they like, right? What I would do is I would do a marketing plan out for this. So I would push it out and I would make people aware of the fact that, hey guys, I'm going to be going live on my Facebook or Instagram or whatever your platform is, or YouTube, it could be on YouTube, at these different times. And I'll be highlighting, here's the links. This is what we're going to be covering. Then you allow people to walk through it with you. Another thing, if you really want to save a lot of time, go record a very slow walkthrough of the property, not like painfully slow, but you know what I mean? Let people really digest what they're looking at. Always shoot, horizontal, not vertical, and really get out there and then push it out to a YouTube link, then send that out to your database, send that out to, potential clients, and let them get an idea of what the property looks like and feels like. And then say, if you would like to see a in-person or a live video of this, let me know and I'll set up a time for you on either Wednesday or Thursday afternoons or evenings. Live videos of our properties get thousands of views.
Tip number 7, the urban to suburban shift. And this was talked about by a number of speakers. I want to go into what Matt Borland from the Courtney Group had to say. According to their research, in the last 90 to 120 days, there has been a 300 to 400% increase in the number of condos that have come on the market in major metropolitan areas. And where the shift is going, we've been hearing this, is to nearby suburban areas. But what we have now, we've got a market that we're starting to get, in some cases, a glut on the inventory. And the other, in the suburbs, there's a tremendous, this has just created more of a shortage of inventory because those houses are now more in demand.
You know, Bernice, there's a fascinating stat that I was made aware of a couple of days ago, and that's that the San Francisco rental market has taken a 25 to 30% dip. So we were, before COVID, we were at I think $37 or $3,800 for like a studio here in San Francisco. It's come down to about $2,800, give or take. The numbers are going to be a little bit off, but you're seeing people do a shift from smaller living to a little bit more land.
Well, this goes along with what John Berkowitz of Ojo Labs had to say. He says, and they acquired Movoto. That's the fourth largest real estate search engine in the industry. They're like, it's like Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, but Movoto's number 4. And what their data shows, people are searching still for the classic 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but they want a flex space. Is there something that could be an office, or if it's a basement, that works. And they're looking for slightly larger lot sizes. Mm-hmm. Now, another speaker talked about the impact of the lockdowns on college towns. I think this particular speaker was Joe Shute. And what he said, he's in Boston, he says, what we're seeing is, and this is happening in college towns across the country, parents are not buying condos for their kids to go to school because they're home with they're living at home. So the other side of the coin here is we have the kids are coming back, they're moving back home to live with their parents. Now, Greg, what's your tip here for our listeners?
So one of the things that I've heard this term used several times, and you could probably get a kick out of it. We call them a boomerang kid, because you go throw them out into the world and they come right on back. And, you know, they're saving money. They're trying to get a job. I mean, the industry and the world is just a little bit crazy at this point. But yeah, I refer them to as boomerangers. And so we got to keep that into the context of like, did your son or daughter recently go to college? Are they coming back after it? Did they, you know, what's going on living at home because a lot of schools aren't even doing in session, classes right now. So there's so many factors to be playing into that thing. It's a fluid event.
Well, one of the things that they can do too to market to these people is to put together, depending on, what are the condos that are currently on the market, this is going to get better, and probably in the next 12 months. So you want to be prepared for that. And people are looking for different lifestyles now. And, that it may be smarter for that particular parent to buy, a house rather than a condo for their child where they can rent some of the rooms out, or, so just be thinking about what the opportunity is in your market. Number 8, presenting is a contact sport. Terry Shoden is an author, a speaker, has been in the real estate industry for many years. And I love what she had to say about presentations. She said, presentations are dead. This is where you have your little flip book, or you've got your PowerPoint, or you've got your, you're flipping through all the things that you want to talk about. That's done. So she's done research over the last 20 years and across, salespeople in multiple industries. So here are the top 3 mistakes that salespeople report that they make. First, they were informative, not persuasive. In other words, they gave a lot of information, but it didn't move the negotiation process along. Secondly, they winged it. Third, they failed to close the sale. Now, what I found particularly interesting, Greg, were the top 5 mistakes salespeople say other salespeople make. This is what they've seen. Number 1, boring, boring, boring. In other words, they were presenting information. Blah, 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 blah. And then informative but not persuasive, failed to close. And then this is an additional one, missing a lot of time. Maybe they had 20 minutes, they kept talking and talking and talking because it's information download or content download. And then, of course, winging it. Now, some of the other things from her study, she says the average salesperson makes at least 3 of these 10 mistakes that were in her studies, over the last 6 months. 60% reported they had little or no sales training. And it's age related. And this is not a surprise. Younger salespeople make more mistakes than older ones do. So, Greg, what's your takeaway from all this? A pro tip for people to apply?
The human body is equipped generally with 2 ears and 1 mouth. And a lot of the times we verbally barf on people because we think we have to oversell it. And in reality, what people want is they want to be heard. Okay, so the sellers want to be heard. So ask more questions than what you're providing as answers. And one of the things I do on a consistent basis is I will walk into a property, we'll do our little hellos, and then we'll sit down and I'll say, Bernice, I want to be respectful of your time. Right now, it is, I'll say 12, high noon. How much time do I have with you today? And then you will give me an answer and say, okay, so at 10 minutes before that mark, I'm going to give us a 10-minute mark. I'll give us a 5-minute mark, and then I'll be out the door so I can be courteous for your time. Would that be okay with you? And they say yes. And I say, great. Now, let me ask you a question. What are the most important things that you want to get out of this meeting? What are the biggest things that you want to learn? And let them tell you, because if you talk about the marketing, but they only want to know about the price, you're going to waste a lot of time. You're going to lose the listing, and you're not going to be boring because you're going to be talking about what they want to hear about, not what you want to talk about.
Tip number 9, short form videos are hot. TikTok was recently was forced by Donald Trump to divest itself of, to turn its U.S. operation over to U.S. companies. And so what currently has happened, Oracle bought 12.5%, but Greg, this is what really surprised me. Walmart owns 7.5% of TikTok. Now you might be thinking, what is that about? Well, those guys understand marketing, and they realize the power of the short form video with music. Instagram Reels is on this right now. It's a TikTok copycat. And what we know about TikTok, by the way, there were 1.9 billion real estate views on that over the last year. 1.9 billion real estate views.
That's absolutely amazing. And I think there's a couple of people, my friend Alyssa, she's on TikTok and she does mortgages, and hers is a Color My Credit. She has like 306,000 followers and several million views. And she's talking about mortgages, guys. Go check her out. You'll get an idea of what we're talking about. Short form video is probably one of the most powerful and impactful things you can possibly do. Instagram stories, Facebook stories, TikTok. Even if you guys don't know, you could upload short form videos to Pinterest and have people watch the videos on Pinterest as well. So Bernice, one of the things that I'm actually doing with short form videos, I'm doing 2 posts a day on my stories. One's personal, one's professional. My friend Monica Weekly, she owns a company called Ghost Poster. It's about $200 a year. And what they do is they have a whole library of information you can post. They also send you something every morning at 4 a.m. into your inbox. And it's something that you can copy and then paste up there. It's basically just allowing people to just recognize that you're still doing real estate and humanize you. And you don't have to think. It's just literally copy, paste, post. And then you take the Instagram, put it over to your Facebook story. You're done for the day. It'll probably take you 2 minutes. So pro tip on that one.
So 2 great options, make your own, post it, directly, or use something like Ghost Poster. And then our final tip, and I was really surprised by this, Greg, 2 unusual ways to build trust. This comes from Mark Johnson. Drone photography creates more trust. And the second one is to annotate your virtual tours. That creates more trust. In other words, this is like, if you're using Matterport, it's like tagging the features on the house. That's what they mean when they say annotate. Now, Greg, you're using, these tools in your business. Can you explain a little bit more about what you're doing?
Yeah, what we'll do is if there's a chance or an opportunity for us to showcase at a higher level, literally a higher level, bringing in the drone and getting those shots and then putting some music behind it. And this is an idea I haven't done it yet, but it's then doing a voiceover and kind of going over the attributes of the property, the neighborhood, the community, and giving people an idea of kind of what they're really looking at. But drones footage has been tremendously valuable. Flying in, circling around, pulling back. It also gives you context of the neighborhood. So you're not just looking at the house. You get to see what some of the other houses might look like, or the street, or if there's hills in the back, or whatever it's going to be. And it's been one of our biggest assets. And once people you tell them that you're going to pay for drone footage, they're like, drone footage, really? And you're like, yeah, here it is. I'll give it to you guys as well. This is my gift to you. And they go banana cakes over it. So huge bonus. And I love the fact that Matterport, you can now shoot from their app, from your smartphone, and do a Matterport video. So incredible stuff.
And to kind of wrap this up, when you go on a listing appointment, again, this is, something that will differentiate you from the competition. And again, by paying this and getting the listing, That's what matters. And then you've got this marketing material that you can use going forward from, on other listing appointments. And I loved, they had one additional idea was to do a box brownie virtual staging of the property. So what you can do, say that I have a property that's got a lot of very traditional furniture and it's kind of traditional looking, but the actual bones of the house are contemporary. I can use the box brownie app to get rid of the furniture virtually and restage that with contemporary furniture. So great takeaways from this. Greg, what's your top recommendation from what we talked about from today?
My top recommendation, Bernice, would be to get into short form video as fast as humanly possible. Don't be afraid of how you look or how you sound. Showcase what you do. It could be one post a day, guys. It doesn't take a lot. You might not get a lot of views when you first start, and that's okay. People aren't used to waiting and watching what you're going to be posting. And then just have fun with it. Like I did a funny little post of me in my pool saying working from the pool. I had over 1,300 views on that one particular post. And it's because I've been training people to show up for it. So start doing short form videos, engaging with your people and having real conversations. But I actually really want to know what your takeaway is.
Well, for me, choose one thing and start working on it right now. Doesn't make any difference which one you choose. Look for those. I like looking for the gaps in terms of your schedule where you can take advantage of those 15-minute gaps. If you do one of those a day, you have picked up, for 7 days, you've picked up an hour and 3/4 of time. And over the month, that's almost the equivalent of a full day. So again, take advantage of those 15-minute gaps. So thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next time.